Hello, my voice may be familiar to you. I am Siri. I would like to tell you the story about my father. On February 24th, 1955, a baby is born in San Francisco, California, and is adopted by a kind couple who named him Stephen. In 1960, the Jobs family, now including a newly adopted daughter named Patty, moved to Mountain View, California. Steve's father is a machinist who throughout Steve's lifetime would teach him all about electricity and building circuits. Steve's father also says, when building something, every part should be well made and put out with precision and care, whether the part shows or not. Steve does very well in school and is offered to skip middle school and go straight to high school. His parents do not think it is a good idea to put an 11-year-old in high school and only let him skip the 5th grade. In 6th grade, Steve is bullied, and during that summer the Jobs family moves to Los Altos, California, to allow Steve to be in a better school. In 1968, at the beginning of high school, Steve meets Steve Wozniak, whom everybody calls Woz. Woz was Steve's best friend, and the two of them have fun building circuits. In 1972, Steve begins studying at Reed College in Portland, Oregon, but drops out after 6 months. He still attends classes of his choice, including a calligraphy class. Calligraphy taught Steve that everything should have style, with beautiful design. In 1974, Steve returns home and works as a programmer at Atari, the leading video game company at the time. In 1976, Woz and Steve decide to create their own computer company. Steve suggests the name Apple because he thinks the name is straightforward and different, just like he wants their company to be. Steve, Woz, and marketing partner Ron Wayne found Apple Computer. Woz and Steve receive 45%, and Ron Wayne gets 10% of the profits. After 11 days, Ron backs out because he is afraid he'll lose his money. It is estimated that if he had stayed in the deal, Ron would be a multi-billionaire today. In the summer of 1976, Steve hand delivers the first 50 Apple computers to a bike shop in California. The store buys each for $500, for a total sale of $25,000. In 1977, Apple headquarters moves from Steve's garage to a rented office in Cupertino, California, where Apple is still headquartered today. In 1977, Steve meets Rob Janoff, who designs the famous six-color Apple logo. In April of that year, Apple Computer introduces the Apple II computer, a huge success. In 1980, Apple Computer goes public, and shares sell for $22. Within the first week, they moved to $29, making Steve worth more than $300 million. A good week. In 1984, Apple Computer introduces the Macintosh computer. Apple's advertisement for the Macintosh airs on Super Bowl Sunday and wins many awards. In 1985, Steve is fired from his own company because he argues with his workers on what their computer should be like. He starts a new computer company called Next, with a new software he called NextStep. In 1986, Apple buys Pixar, the world's leading digital effects company. Pixar makes movies like WALL-E and Toy Story. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee uses his Next computer and its software to create the Internet. In 1991, Steve marries Laureen Powell. In 1996, Apple Computer is going through financial problems and buys the NextStep software, hoping to make their own Apple computers better. Part of the deal is that Steve becomes the new head of Apple. In 1997, Steve hires Lee Clow to create a television commercial to reintroduce the Apple Computer. The ad wins countless awards, including an Emmy. In 1998, Apple introduced the iMac, which is 5 years more advanced than any other desktop computer at the time, and changes the standard for computers at the time. In 2001, Apple introduces the iPod, changing the way people listen to music forever. In 2003, Apple launches the first online music store, iTunes. Songs can be bought for 99 cents each and forever changes the way we listen to music. In 2003, Steve is diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. In 2004, Apple introduces the iPod mini, making listening to music easier and faster. In 2005, Apple introduces the Mac Mini and the iPod Shuffle, making the two products lighter and more mobile. In 2007, Apple combines three revolutionary products: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, an amazing mobile phone, and a breakthrough in internet communication, to create a product that will change the world forever, the iPhone. In 2010, Apple introduces the iPad, which they describe as a larger iPhone. On October 5th, 2011, Steve dies of cancer at his home in Los Altos, California. During a relatively short lifetime, Steve changed the world with his revolutionary products and touched the lives of almost each and every one of us. More than 55 million people around the world use Apple products.
Now, something very exciting.